friends, welcome back to Liz's Reading Corner, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Liz and I like books, and this is Bookmas Day 23, our second last day of Bookmas. I'm at the stage where I am really excited for this to be over because I definitely did not think through the whole 24 videos and 24 days thing, and I did not take into account the fact that the weather was going to be awful. And when it comes to summer and like humidity, I get migraines. So summer is not great for me, but we're almost done. We are on our second last book, and so we will read the prompts. We'll spin the wheel. We'll see what we are reading today. So my prompt for today is day 23, a book involving Christmas lights or decoration, and I chose Death at Holly Lodge by Louise R. Innes. ChatGPT chose a story involving a government or organization covering up strange holiday events, and Chat chose The Anomaly by Michael Rutger. So we will spin the wheel and see what we're reading. Okay, so we are meant to be reading The Anomaly by Michael Rutger, but like I've said in a couple of videos already, I don't want to buy books for this, because especially books that I'm not, or very likely not to be reading again, and so I couldn't get this in time. I think the library had it, but I just couldn't get it in time, and so I asked Chat to choose a different book, and it chose High Crimes by Joseph Finder. So I will read that and I will be back with you very soon with my thoughts. So I am, when we find the right place and the right angle, I am just about finished really reading High Crimes by Joseph Finder. I have done my whole bedtime routine, which is why I look so glowy. I've just put moisturizer on, and well, I just washed my face and put moisturizer on, and obviously brushed my teeth, but you guys don't need to know about my bedtime routine. I am on page 356 of 397, and this, I didn't realize until I actually looked into it, was published in like the late 90s, and it very much is a product of the late 90s. It's not terrible, but it reminds me very much of like the crime procedurals that I used to read back then, like Jeffrey Deaver, James Patterson, Kathy Reichs, like along those lines. But it's like a JAG sort of mix. So instead of being like police detectives, it is military. JAG, I think, is Navy. But anyway, it's military instead. And so there is this man who has been living like kind of a double life. He's been lying to the main character, who is Claire. He's been married to Claire for 3 years, known her for 5, is basically the father to Claire's daughter. And one day, like, the house is broken into, the police take fingerprints. Turns out that the man that Claire has married is not actually the person he says he is, and he is actually this wanted criminal who's been wanted for like 13 years for military desertion and war crimes. And so, yeah, we are basically just following the court, like the proceedings, because Claire is a lawyer, so she practices and she teaches at Harvard Law School, and she's just got through, so at the start of the book, she's got through a really high profile criminal case where she actually gets a rapist off of a charge based on a technicality. So there is that sort of trigger warning in there. You don't really hear about what they did, but there is mention of it. So, not detailed mention, but mention. And so she is, although I don't know how this would work, because I don't know the law, but she is actually representing her husband herself. So I don't know if that's something that is actually you're able to do, but that is what she is doing. And so we are going through the court case, and it's like happened, so he's like been arrested, and then I think it's like a week or two they do like the discovery, so like the evidence, so they like put into evidence, or they put before the judge the evidence and what they want to include and exclude and that sort of thing, and then like the trial starts immediately. And I don't know if that's also something that is possible, but that is what happens in this. And so it moves pretty quickly and it reads pretty quick, but I don't know how realistic it is. In saying that, a lot of things that were written around that time were not terribly realistic either. So yeah, so almost finished the second last day of Bookmas, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit excited to just get back to reading what I like to read, and not be following such strict prompts. So yeah, I'll be with you again very, very shortly with some more thoughts. Apologies for the shaky camera, my arm's getting tired. I have finished reading High Crimes? Yes, High Crimes by Joseph Finder. Yeah, so I finished reading High Crimes by Joseph Finder. This, I have no idea why chat chose this, because this is not a Christmas book. This is really just like a, even set around Christmas time. So I have no idea why chat threw this one at me. This was the first book that it actually gave out for the prompt, so I have no idea what was going on. But anyway, so I've read it. It is basically, we just follow this lawyer. So we follow Claire, who is this high profile lawyer. She is just coming off the back of a case where, like a very high profile case, where she actually got this criminal off on a technicality, and she is like celebrating with her family, and so she's gone out to dinner with her husband Tom and their daughter, and then as they're leaving dinner, the FBI, I think it is, come in and try to arrest Tom, and they say that he is this other person and he is wanted for like war crimes and things that happened. It's like 11 years before, or 12 years before, 13 years before, something like that. And like some quite horrific crimes, to be honest. And yeah, so then he goes on the run, and she tries to help him, which is, in my opinion, very silly. And so then he is eventually found by the military police, and because she led them to him. And the rest of the book, that's the first like 50 odd pages, and then the rest of the book is basically just like them preparing for the court case and like the court case, and it is done very, very quickly. So I don't know anything about the military. I've never been in the military. I'm not a military person, very obviously. And I don't know anything about like the criminal justice system because I'm not a lawyer, but it feels a little bit rushed. So he's arrested, they have discovery, and they have the trial, and the ending happens all within, I think it's like a month or two. And I know that things can move really quickly, but I don't think that... So what happens is they have discovery, and then the case is immediately afterwards. And then there's like evidence that is just like plucked out of nowhere, and as his lawyer, she doesn't even know who's visiting him. So Claire doesn't even know who's visiting Tom while he is locked up. Like, there's a few plot holes that just don't make sense to me. So, it feels like a really, and I know there's probably going to be some people that are going to be upset by this, it just feels like a really poorly written, like James Patterson or Jeffrey Archer book. And I know that they have their problems and they have plot holes, but it just feels not quite as good as theirs. And those are, because this was published in the 90s, so their books are the only things that I have to like compare them to. And like Kathy Reichs as well. It just feels like not quite up to that standard, basically. So yeah. So I gave it 2 stars. There was just like a lot of plot holes. It just was really, really slow. There was a lot of unnecessary information in there. It wasn't something that I would normally read, quite honestly, because I haven't read that sort of book, like the 90s, end of 90s, mid 90s, like crime, like The Bone Collector. I haven't read anything like that in a really long time. So, and I haven't been interested in anything like that in a really long time. So that's possibly why I didn't enjoy it as much, but here we are. Have you read this book? What did you think of it? What would you have chosen for these prompts? I definitely would not have chosen High Crimes because it is not Christmassy in the slightest. It's not set around Christmas. Chat absolutely failed on that one. If you like what I do here, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for the last day of Bookmas. Bye!
Bye.